Hello and welcome to today's live Writer's Digest webinar sponsored by AWAI, titled How to Make $1,000 as a Writer in a Weekend with Rebecca Matter and Katie Yeakle. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few details regarding today's webinar. First of all, today's webinar is being recorded, so you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the presentation. You don't have to take any notes unless you want to. You will receive a follow-up thank you email tomorrow, so be watching for that to come in your inbox. And if you don't see it, check for it in a spam folder. And other note I'd like to make is that we welcome and invite you to ask questions. On the GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your computer screen, you will see a question box, and you can type in your question for the presenter at any time. If it looks like the question disappears, don't worry. They collect in a well and will get to the presenter. And Rebecca and Katie will be trying to answer as many of these questions today as possible. Now, I'd like to introduce to you today's presenters. Rebecca Matter is copywriter, founder of Wealthy Web Writer, named one of the 100 best websites for writers by Writer's Digest, and president of AWAI, American Writers and Artists Incorporated, the world's leading trainer of direct response copywriters. A marketer with 20 years of experience in publishing and direct marketing, Rebecca trains writers how to make a great living doing what they love. Katie Yeakle has spent over 30 years in the world of direct marketing and publishing in the role of copy editor, editorial coordinator, product manager, fulfillment supervisor, marketing manager, and publisher. Recognizing the industry-wide need for talented copywriters who can deliver copy that sells, she helped establish American Writers and Artists Incorporated with co-founders Paul Hollingshead and Don Mahoney in 1997. Today, as Executive Director, Katie oversees AWAI's 70-plus programs designed to help people turn their passion into careers. Okay, with that, Katie and Rebecca, I'm going to let you take it from here, and I won't jump in unless you need me to.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Matter. I'm the one on the left, and I'm joined by Katie Yeakle. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. I'm the one on the right.
We are here to talk about how to make $1,000 as a writer in a weekend. So our goals for this presentation, the end goal is obvious, but our goals in general, there's a little instruction that we'd like to give at the beginning, is to really give you the key to success as a paid writer. If you're on this webinar, we're guessing that you want to make a living as a writer, that you at least want to get paid to write. So we want to go through the options and really give you the fundamentals. If you want to succeed as a well-paid writer, this is what you're going to want to do. We're going to give you a checklist for choosing the right projects if you're short on time, and we're going to give you, we're going to go in detail to cover 5 projects worth at least $1,000. Funny enough, when we put together this presentation, that was our goal, was $1,000, but as you're going to see, many of them pay more than $1,000, and they can be completed in 16 hours. So we counted a weekend as being 2 8-hour days, so 16 hours, and then we'll close out with tips for getting started before we open it up for questions. Really quickly, just who are we? We are marketers together, Katie and myself, with a combined 50 years of experience in the publishing industry. We have personally each hired and helped train hundreds of well-paid writers, and we love helping writers make good money. That's our thing. AWAI is all about making a great living as a writer. If you're not familiar with AWAI, though, AWAI has been around since 1997. We've been helping writers live the writer's life since then. We are publishers of the industry's leading training programs on copywriting and building a successful writing business. And we pride ourselves not only on giving you the skills necessary to be a well-paid writer, but also the tools and access necessary to find clients. And that is one of the biggest pillars, if you will, of AWAI. We believe that we need to not only teach you the skills of how to do a paid project, but also how to find the clients who value that project and are willing to pay you the kinds of fees we're going to talk about today. So every program, every lesson that we go through, including today's, we will always cover how to actually find assignments for whatever we teach. Before we get in there, though, if you want to get paid to write and you are on this webinar, I have to say you're in the right place at the right time. Things were great back in 1997 when we started 20 years ago, but they're a whole lot better now. Good writers these days are in high demand. You just think of any one company that you visit, think of any one website. all that copy on the website, all the content that they push out regularly, all the articles. Think of the Writer's Digest website, all those emails, all the articles, the webinars, advertisements, all of it, the e-letters. Every single company needs writers to write all of that content. Back when we started, there were maybe a handful of projects that writers could take on. Typically your direct mail packages and things that you get in the mail, advertisements that you see in magazines. Nowadays, so many opportunities, and each company needs all of these things written, and there are literally millions of companies in the US alone. So good writers are in very high demand. That increase in demand means higher fees, which is what's exciting for us. Back in 1997, writers made a lot of money because there weren't a lot of people who could do copywriting, who were direct response copywriters. But that increase in demand, so they were paid well back then. But now that there are dozens and dozens and dozens of projects and all of these companies that need all of these writers, they have to pay a lot more for writers to write everything from blogs to ads to emails to advertisements, everything you can think of. Fees we're just seeing an increase across the board. And writers now have all the power. The power has shifted from the companies where there are lots of writers and few companies who recognize the value of a writer to now every company recognizes the value of the writer. And now the writer has the choice. The writer can choose who they want to work for now. You have that power, mainly in part to things like social media and Google. Nowadays, if you want to have a web presence, and I can't think of a company in the world that wouldn't want an online presence for people to be able to find them online, Google requires you to have good content. Back in the day, it was all about quantity. You could slap up a bunch of pages on a website and you would show up in the search engine. Not anymore. Google is looking for relevancy. They're looking for good content. They're looking for pages that actually provide information to the thing that the person is searching for. Writers know how to do that. They know how to write in a way that brings people in, have a great conversation with them, and gets them to engage with the company or to buy something or to sign up for their e-letter or actually just connect, which wasn't the case a long time ago. So you as a writer are coming in with, if you like to write, you like to read, you're coming into this time just already primed to take advantage of this opportunity because you already love to write and read. Writers write, right? And they read. And so if you're on this webinar, I'm guessing that you're a writer. I'm guessing that you already love to write. And now today we're going to show you how to actually get paid for that writing that you love to do. Before we get into the actual projects, there is one skill. We put this presentation together originally. We did it for our audience. Our audience is mainly made up of people looking to get paid to write, and we have introduced them to the idea of copywriting. So all of the lessons or all of the projects that we're going to show you today are forms of copywriting. Now you can do them even if you're not quote unquote a copywriter, but that one skill, the understanding the idea of copywriting, will actually give you the most opportunity and the ability to make money. When we say the word copywriting, in our world, all we're really saying is learning how to write persuasively. Can I get someone who's reading whatever I'm writing, whether it's a mail package, whether it's a website, whether it's a piece of online content, whether it's an email, can I connect with them? And can I get them to take some form of action, whether it is, again, to sign up to an e-letter or donate to a charity or go to the next page on the website or to buy something or anything else. If I can move somebody, if I can connect with them and move them to any kind of action, I'm known as a copywriter. That's known as persuasive writing. So when you think of copywriting, don't just think of like the Madison Avenue flashy headlines and things like that. That is a teeny tiny little part of the copywriting opportunity. Everything that we talked about at AWAI and everything that we're going to be talking about today is all on top of this foundation of copywriting. It's just one of these are 5 of the many, many opportunities in copywriting. Once you learn how to write persuasively, if you can learn copywriting, you will make more money as a writer. I don't care what path you go down, you will make more money if you understand good copywriting. You'll be a more effective writer. Even in your fiction will be more effective, and you'll be able to sell your writing services to clients and your book. If that's your end goal is to have a published book and get a publisher, you will be a more effective writer because you understand, I've got to get this publisher to want to publish my book. I am a persuasive writer, so now I can write a letter, a very persuasive letter to any publisher, to any agent, and sell them on why my book, they should represent my book. So just learning how to write persuasively, learning copywriting, it benefits all aspects of our world. I've had companies replace my luggage because it got smashed up at baggage claim. We've had people get insurance claims paid for just because they learned how to write copy, which they're doing for clients, but they're using it in their own life as well. So learning to write persuasively, we just believe that it's the center point of all well-paid writing opportunities. And there are tons of options. As you're going to see today, you can moonlight as a freelance writer. You don't have to say, okay, I'm going to be a copywriter and I'm going to do this as a full-time career. You can just do it on the side. You can moonlight and just do it 3 hours a day or on the weekends. You can replace your current career. And I don't care if you're making $30,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, $150,000, whatever job you have today, there is an equal paying career on the other side in the copywriting world. So you can totally replace your career income. You don't have to though. You can just moonlight. Or as you're going to see today, you can just make a little extra money on the side. If you're just looking for just some extra cash to pay for things like unexpected car repairs or vacations or, a new kitchen or whatever it is, you just want to have that mad money. You can just do the stuff that we're going to talk about today just to generate that extra thing. It doesn't have to be this big life-changing decision to become a copywriter. It's just learning to write copy. And then you can take it, maybe you start earning extra money on the side. And then you're like, hey, actually, I'd rather spend a little more time with this and maybe fully supplement my income. Maybe I want to add an extra 20 grand. What would $20,000 look like for you? Just adding that to the job that you already have. Or again, maybe you don't like your job. Maybe you don't like to commute. Maybe you would like a little flexibility to spend your summers in Colorado instead of in Texas or whatever. You just want that flexibility. That's an option as well. And there's tons of variety. We're going to give you 5 today, but case studies, blogs, articles, white papers, emails, we teach at AWAI every single one of these opportunities, how to write them, who the clients are, and how to get paid. At last audit, we identified 75 different writing projects and the fees, who's paying for them and how much they're expected to pay. We publish this every single year. It's called AWAI's Copywriting Pricing Guide. This is the 2017 one. It's free on our website. But there's 75 different things that you could do as a writer and get paid. And like I said, all we're talking about today is 5. So there's 75 there, but it's free. It's on our site. We publish it every year. And we send this out into the world so that companies realize this is what you need to expect to pay a copywriter. That's AWAI's job, is not only to train quality writers, but to also educate the industry. This is the value. This is what the copywriter is worth. And to copywriters to say, this is what you're worth. So that when you go to a client, you're naming the right prices. You don't want to undershoot. You want to be seen as a professional who's worthy of these fees. So I recommend everybody get that, because that has everything in it. But today, how do you actually choose? There's 75 writing projects. How do we narrow it down? So today, the way we decided, we're like, okay, Katie and I got together, like, okay, if we can only teach them like a little segment of the 75, what are we going to focus on? So we decided to focus on how to make $1,000 in a weekend. So we're going to look at projects with a short learning curve. So things that you can learn fast, and when I say fast, within a week, you'd be able to take a program, and it's not a long, comprehensive months of training, but you'd be able to learn to do the project from A to Z within a matter of a week. The projects are all in high demand. High demand means that companies understand what they are quickly. You're able to quickly say, this is what I can do for you. And they want these things. They want the things that we're quote unquote selling to them, these writing projects. The fees are at least $1,000. And as you're going to see, they're a lot higher. And the turnaround time is under 16 hours. So we set a weekend, but maybe you don't want to give up your weekends and you would rather work 4 hours over 4 days. That's fine too. All of these projects can be done though in 16 hours. You could spread that out over 2 weeks. You could spread that out over 3 weeks, but you can turn around these things in a short amount of time. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump on into the 5 projects that pay at least $1,000 and can be completed in less than 16 hours. So remember, everything is a form of copywriting. Remember, I said that at the beginning. We believe that copywriting is any time you're writing persuasively. These are what we call project types. So this first one is called a case study. And this is an example of one of our members. His name is Steve Coombs. We have 50 of these case studies, or 40, I think, case studies published on our website. Basically, a case study is a short story that describes how a company or organization solved a challenge with a product or service and what the results of solving the challenge were. So in other words, it's a before and after story. In this example that I just showed you, this is a man named Steve Coombs. His challenge, he worked for a Fortune 1000 company. He made 6 figures. He had a large family, and he was leaving one day to go to work, and one of his kids asked for a hug, and his sibling said, Daddy can't hug you right now. He has to go to work. And in that moment, he turned back and thought, I'm on the wrong side of the fence. Yes, I'm supporting my family. Yes, I love my job, but hey, these kids are young, and I don't tend to hug my kid. So he set out to solve a problem. The problem that he had was he had a great job, but it was consuming all of his time. he didn't have time to support this growing family that he had built with his wife. So he decided to seek out a new option. And so he found us, he found copywriting, and he became a copywriter and replaced. We have a great video of him. He's replaced the income and is making more now as a copywriter than he ever made as a Fortune 1000 employee. So for him, now he's home with his family. They take off every summer for 4 weeks to go on vacation. So he solved that problem, the problem of wanting more time with his family with our program or AWAI, and that is the solution. And now we know the after story. He now has this lifestyle. He has the money he wants to make, and he can take these vacations. So it's the before and after story. And it's not just for us. Every single company with any product or service is in need of a case studies. They don't just want one person who's done this. They want multiple people who have done this. Clients need them throughout the year. We can't just send out that Steve Coon story again and again and again, right? People would start to dismiss it. And if you're not the same story, if you're not the same guy as Steve, maybe you aren't a dad. Maybe you don't work for a Fortune 1000 company. Maybe you don't make six figures. Maybe you don't have a family to support. Whatever the thing is, it might not resonate with you. He might resonate with a lot of other dads or people who are in that similar situation, but the story might not resonate with you. So we have to keep publishing other stories of other people, like Mindy McCourse, a mom in Albuquerque, or we might publish something about Ray Robinson, one of our other members who was in college, didn't start with a full-time job, cleared six figures as a copywriter without ever taking a job. She actually snuck our copywriting course onto her own credit card because her parents were paying for her college. So that case study is, again, this child did not want to go out into the workforce. She wanted to work for herself and found us. And, again, it's that before and after story. The problem was she didn't want to join the workforce. She wanted to be an entrepreneur. The solution was our programs. So that's a case study, the before and after. So clients need them throughout the year. They need tons of them. The demand is huge in the B2B side. That's called business to business. Business to business is basically a company who sells to another company. So a business sells to a business instead of a consumer. So if you just think of like a veterinary, think of like a PetSmart or like a veterinary supply store or a pet supply store. Think of like the animal cages, right? The crates. People sell, they might sell directly to us, to consumers, but more often than not, they sell to pet stores where we then go to the store. That's business to business. When a product creator or manufacturer sells directly to another business, that's an example of business to business. And they use tons of case studies. Some of our case study experts have written 50 in a year for one particular client. Like that last bullet says, one client can need a lot. If you go to AWAI's website and you click on testimonials and you scroll down to where you see case studies, you'll see 40 already there. I think there's actually 42 now. And we have 16 more in the hopper for our case study writer to write. And wait till you see this. Case studies are 800 to 1,200 words. They take about 5 to 8 hours to write, and that includes interviewing the success story. $1,250 to $2,000 for a single case study. That's $200 to $300 per hour for 800 to 1,200 words. Now, if you just think about a magazine or any other publication that you've read recently, right, even if it's online or whatever, and you saw an article that's usually about 800 to 1,200 words, do you think that the journalist made $2,000 for that piece? No. They likely made anywhere between $50 and $100 for that piece, maybe $200 if they were lucky. But this is, and I love case studies because if you have that journalist background, if you're the kind of person who likes to uncover the story, that's your job as a case study writer. You get to interview these great people who have had great success with the product or service. So they love the company, they love the product, and you get to uncover their story and get all the insights and let them tell you how great it is and what their before and after transformation looks like. Your job as a case study writer is then to write it and get paid $1,250 to $2,000. Like, this to me is such a dream job. I'm obviously an upbeat person. I love talking to happy people. So talking to people who are happy about the product or service that I'm trying to help promote is fantastic. There's no sales writing. It's just writing about this person's story. So that's what a case study is. Now, I did include, since you'll get access to my slides as well as the recording, I put links in here. They're not clickable right now, but everywhere you see the resource, that is our program on that thing. So should you decide, yep, I love case studies, I want to learn how to do them, you'll be able to access the training program after this webinar. And every program, remember, that we teach not only teaches you how to write the project, but also teaches you how to land the client. So whenever you finish a program, if you were to take our case studies program, you would end up with a sample case study, hands-on exercises, you actually work through it, and then you learn how to go and use that case study or whatever you're writing as an example, as a portfolio piece to show clients that you know what you're doing. So in every section, we gave you our resource just that you have it should you choose one of these 5. Okay, number 2, e-newsletters. Now, anybody who has an iPad or any kind of tablet, you're very familiar with e-newsletters. It's just the electronic version of what used to be the paper newsletter, right? Writers Digest has a newsletter that you receive. AWAI has a newsletter called The Writer's Life. But e-newsletters, again, think of any business that isn't sending out their content. E-newsletters, the goal of them, and this is kind of misunderstood. People think it's just we're just pushing out articles, but it's not. There's actual intention, and this is the difference. We're going to give you these insights. This is the difference between a professional writer, someone who has a skill set to sell to companies, and just someone who just write, you can just write articles, and that's fine. But if you understand the intention of these pieces, that's why you get paid more. That's why our writers are so well paid and why they can command these fees, because they understand the intention of the project. Remember, the case study's intention was to demonstrate proof, the before and after of the product. That's the intention of a case study, is to show that transformation happened and to prove life story. How strong is that when you're trying to sell something to somebody, right? You as the case study writer, you didn't do any selling. Their salespeople are going to do the selling. But that piece provided so much proof to the potential buyer. That's the intention of the case study. With e-newsletters, the intention of an e-newsletter is not just to push out content. It's actually to position the company as the expert. When we are publishing that pricing guide, the industry's pricing guide, our intention isn't just to tell the industry, here's what you need to charge. Our intention with that pricing guide was to show the industry, you want to know what to charge? You want to know what to bill your clients, copywriters? You want to know what you should expect to pay companies? Come to AWAI. We are the authorities in the industry on copywriting. So the job of an e-newsletter is to position the company as an expert. It's also intended to turn prospects. Prospects are people who have not yet purchased anything, who have not yet engaged. They've just been reading the free content. It's to turn them into customers. Let's encourage them to buy. Let's show them interesting stories and things that are relevant to the things that we're trying to sell. And then turn customers, people who have purchased, into repeat buyers. Businesses aren't in business to not sell. They have something to sell you. And no matter what business you're going to, no matter what website, they have things to sell you. And so your job as a writer is oftentimes to help them build a relationship with their prospects and get them to ultimately buy something, even if you never ask for the sale, even if you're not doing any selling. That is the job of content. That is the job of everything that companies publish. And again, that's why writers get paid so much money. So these are the jobs of an e-newsletter. This is why I love them. Companies cannot stop sending them once they start. If I'm a company and I say, sign up for my e-newsletter, and every Friday I'll deliver you tips on how to get clients, how to get writing clients. Every Friday, you're going to expect an e-newsletter from me. If I stop sending it for a month or so, and then I decide to send it again, you're likely going to dismiss it. You might mark it as spam, you might delete it, you might just not even see it anymore because you're not expecting it. If you're not opening something regularly from me, the company, we're losing our relationship. It's like, it just kind of fizzles out. So once they say, I'm going to send a monthly e-newsletter or I'm going to send a weekly, they cannot stop. It's usually weekly or monthly, but what that means is it's ongoing, predictable income. So I love this for a lot of reasons. One, they can't stop once they start, and they don't want to write the e-newsletter. If I manufacture widgets, or I'm a veterinarian, or I create lip balms for new moms who don't want to have chemicals on their, whatever the thing is, whatever the product is, that's my job. I don't want to write. I'm not a writer. I'm a manufacturer, creator, or I'm a public, maybe I'm an accountant and I'm selling my accounting services. That's my job. I hire a writer to write the content because that's your job. You're the writer. So they don't want to do these newsletters, or they want to do them because they know they need to do them because they're valuable, but they don't want to write them. They want to focus their efforts on what they do best, running their companies, manufacturing their products. So they would rather pay a writer like you what's called a retainer, which is a monthly fee to produce the same thing every single month. And that means ongoing predictable income. A retainer is, I pay you $2,000 every month, you send me 2 newsletters every month. It's a win-win. I don't have to worry about where my newsletter content is coming from, and you don't have to worry about where your paycheck is coming from. Every single month, we're going to have the same deal, and it's automatic. The length of an e-newsletter is typically 1,200 to 1,500 words, maximum maybe 8 hours per client. I can bang out 1,500 words. I can do a first draft now in about an hour and a half, assuming I know my topic. Let's say I have to do some research too. Let's add another hour and a half. That's 3 hours. I would then go through and rewrite maybe another hour. We're at 4, and then maybe one more round of proof, editing, another half hour. So at the most, I've worked up to this, but 8 hours is really a lot of time to spend. So that's not even, remember we talked about 16 hours. This is one newsletter, 1 8-hour stint, And typically around $1,000, that can go as high as $2,000. If you're writing on a complex topic, like let's say you're writing for a prosthetics person, right? And you're helping them talk about prosthetics to all the doctors who put in prosthetic pieces into people. That's more of a complex topic. You might have to learn about that. And once you do, you'll work for every prosthetic manufacturer and write all their newsletters. Same with veterinarians, or just think of any, just look around your house, wherever you are right now. Look at your desk, look at your phone, whatever room you're in. Every single thing in your room where you are was manufactured by someone. And more likely than not was touched by many other companies. There was the person who manufactured the thing, but then there was also the packaging and the transportation, all of that. That's all commerce. Anywhere someone is exchanging money, anywhere money is exchanging hands, that's business, that's commerce. And every one of those companies needs a copywriter. So whatever you're talking about, whatever, just anything that you come in contact with every single day, there's an opportunity for you to make a living as a writer. So resource, again, creating e-newsletters that walks you through. That's a very fast program. You could easily go through it in a day if you wanted to. And the expert behind it, Michael Katz, shows you exactly who the clients are, millions of them, and how to go out and land them. All right, Katie, I'm going to pull you in for this one. Key message platforms. Katie? Maybe I'm going to
Sorry, I've been, I'm sorry. I've been so busy answering questions. Great questions. Okay, great. So key message platforms. So Rebecca, you're just going to advance the slides for me?
Sure.
Okay, great. So these are comprehensive documents that contain all the relevant marketing messages and statements about a product or a service. These are on the internal side. These aren't documents that are distributed to customers or potential customers. This is a helpful document for writers, for salespeople, for everybody internally, so that everybody's on the same page. They're typically no more than 10 pages, and it's the Bible. It's the document that outlines what the company's unique selling proposition is, what their values are, what their key points that they want to get across. Rebecca, could you go to the next slide? Oh, back one. It's about making, mastering messaging. It's making sure that there's a consistent message being delivered throughout. And it's a wonderful document, because once it's done, the marketing director or the president or the owner, this is the starting point for any conversation that they're going to be having with writers specifically that are involved in their company. Typically what you do is you interview the president or the marketing director, whoever the voice is behind the company's product, and you bring in other voices as well. You might want to talk to the product developer or the publisher or editor, whoever's involved. You gather this. It's really like being almost an investigative journalist. You're getting all these pieces together. You're getting all these viewpoints together, and then you are distilling them into one document that outlines and details the company's purpose and messaging and voice. Next, like I said, they're typically 10 pages or less, including interview time and writing it up and back and forth. You could do this easily in 10 to 15 hours. And since these are on a corporate level, the fees are a little, they're decent on the higher side, $2,500 to $4,000. We have a program that teaches how to do this, from how to get the necessary information. And when you go into this with the goal of helping the founder, the president, the people get their message out, it drives you, and it's when we first learned about these, we immediately said, oh, we need one. And when companies hear about these, that's their typical impression too. They may not know that they need it yet. They may not even know that they exist. But when they do, it's like, oh man, this is going to make my life so much easier. So there's that. And then now another project, which we're shifting gears a little bit, is called Site Audits. Now it does help. Rebecca touched on this earlier. When we're typically talking to our members and people that we coach and advise, they do have this basis of this foundation of copywriting and direct response marketing and being in this world. And it does help if you have that kind of understanding, if this is something that is of interest to you. This is another fun project. Again, it brings in that investigative mindset. You're a problem solver. There's a lot of quick wins for you. So there's that. They're kind of quick projects, and they can lead to more, which I'll get to in a second. But basically, when you do a site audit, you're going to somebody's website, and you're looking to be sure that they're doing the key things that make that website as effective as it can be. You will learn how to recognize if something's performing the way it should or it shouldn't, and you will learn to advise on how to make those fixes. For instance, everybody's goal with their website is to have it rank as high on Google. There are ways of doing that, and by doing this audit, you can uncover what some of the problems are and then give advice as to how to improve that. There may be a disconnect in messaging from one page to a next, but especially business owners or, people that are so involved in it, sometimes they can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes something's right in front of them and they just can't see it, but having clean outside eyes come in, especially ones that have been trained to know what to look for. Like I said, it sets you up to make some quick wins and to really help people be more successful.
It's almost like a mechanic. Like you take your car in for a 30,000 point check, 30,000 mile check, and they go through the list, and the list is already. That's why I love it, because it sounds technical, but there's already that sheet, and they're just checking it off. It's not like they have to know to check your tire pressure, because it says on the sheet, check the tire pressure. It should fall in this range. If it's not in that range, mark this thing and make somebody fix it. Like you don't have to fix anything. You just have to go through the checklist and understand what the things are, and if they match what the qualifications should be. So like you might not know how to make things rank in Google. That's not your job. That's the search engine optimization person. But I can tell you what to look for. I can put it on a checklist and say, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to their homepage. If you don't see their location, their city and state on their homepage, check this box. That's a quick win. Add your city and state, and you will show up locally when people are searching for you. So it's like a checklist of like those little things, just like the auto mechanic who's just checking through to make sure that everything is going right in your car.
Yep. And Rebecca, if you could just go to the next slide. The beauty of this is, like Rebecca's saying, there is this checklist. There are very common things. There are easy fixes here. And then once you've done your investigation, you write up a report detailing, why things may not be working, with recommendations as to how it can be fixed. And one of the beauty of this, especially for writers, specifically copywriters, is you can offer to do the fixes. If there is a disconnect between one page and the next page, if there isn't an explanation as to the history or the significance behind one part, well, you know what, I can just write that up for you, and that would be an additional fee. If there's lots of opportunities that way, and once you are familiar with this and comfortable with it, it's easy to turn this one project into something much bigger. And the other thing is, it's really kind of a no risk for the company, because it's not like they have to unveil, their code behind their website or give away any company secrets. You're pretty much doing this evaluation of what is public and available, but you're just looking at it through these specialized eyes. They're typically 10 to 13 pages, and that's when you're taking screenshots, so you're showing the actual pages that you're talking about. To start, it may take you 10 hours or so, but once you get more experienced, you'll be able to go through it quicker. A lot depends on the size of the website as well, and you can charge anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. Another thing I like about this is that, maybe there aren't any problems, and, that's a great thing as well, but there's still going to be opportunities for a writer to improve what's there. But it's really like a no risk for the business owner. It's like, well, sure, you might as well check it out, because, you can always learn something. Now, the fifth opportunity that we're talking about today we call it sales funnels. And these are a series of highly effective automated emails that companies send once you have triggered an action. You've either signed up for more information, you've actually bought something. This is the start of what hopefully becomes a long-term relationship, and it's done, 99% of the time by a series of emails. Rebecca, if you could just jump up to the next one. So, like I said, your reader, the website viewer, the potential customer signs up for a report. Then he is sent an email. Somebody has to write that email, and no reason that can't be you. Then there's another email. Typically there could be 5 to 7 in what we call a welcome series, and it's introducing different aspects of the product that they just bought, or introducing different aspects of the organization that they're getting information about. There are 2 different types of sales funnels. One is for one that's just requesting information. The goal of that is to get them to eventually buy something. The other is for customers, and the goal of that one is to keep them engaged, to keep the relationship going. These are all friendly. They're typically very short. It is all about relationship building. And next, as I'm sure you know, if you're living and breathing and have an email account, these are very popular. You get these all the time, and the reason they are popular is because they work. And they're not limited to any specific niche or industry. Pretty much every company uses them. If they don't, they should. And the end result is your clients end up with a better relationship with their customers. And that's what they want, because this is, like I said, it's all about relationship building. And how great if you can be the one to help them do that. Now, the way that the fees work here, again, there's nothing technical here. It basically is writing the emails. There is some strategy that's involved meaning that you do want to think about and work with the client on what the actual path is you want the person to take. How do you want them to get engaged? What do you want them to see? What is the conversation? So it can be broken down into 2 parts. It could be architecting, actually building the series of emails, and for that you could charge about $1,000 to $1,500, depending on the complexity. But then the second part of that is actually writing the email, and people in our industry typically pay $300 to $1,000 per email. It can vary from industry to industry, but the thing about these emails is you need a lot of them, or companies need a lot of them. And it's not just one and done. Once they have a series that's working, then the marketer mindset kicks in and they say, okay, well, how can we make it better? How can we tweak it? So how can we test a new one? So they're constantly challenging what they have in place. And by the way that they challenge is by trying new emails. So once you learn the product and you've been able to deliver these kind of funnels, there really is so much opportunity, and just one other point is sometimes, sometimes on the company level that there's specific funnels, but then they can also be on the individual product level within the company. So like I said, the opportunity is huge for this. Brian Dice from Digital Marketer is really the undisputed expert on this whole funnel type of marketing, and we were lucky enough to partner with him on a program that actually walks you through all these pieces. First, the strategy part, as well as the actual writing of the email part. And like I said, this is a little bit more on the marketing copywriter side. You have an advantage if you have those skills, but you can definitely make $1,000 or more in under 8 to 10 hours. Definitely a great weekend project. So Rebecca,
and once you start working for a client, on one of these too, it's like Katie said, it's again and again and again. AWAI, we put in our first funnel maybe 2 years ago, and we've got to be over 20 by now. And any one of those funnels at any given time is being rewritten. So if it's brand new to you, don't resist anything in writing that feels like, oh, that's a little over my head, because all of our stuff, it's just the education part of it. Once you learn it, then you'll know it. So you just have to, if that sounds interesting to you, to me, this is one, if you like the idea of like gambling or like, if I move this thing over here, what's the end result over there? If you're that kind of if like a strategist or a game player, if you like to play games, this is really good for you because you're going to like the moving parts. If I just change this one little email here, what would that mean down the line? So like the site audits are really great for people who are methodical, who like to follow systems, who like to go, I want a checklist, I want 30 points, I want to go from top to bottom. Sales funnels are more of like the strategist. Like if you're like a pool player or a chess player, how do I think like 5 steps ahead? I know I want to get them there. What do I do in steps 1, 2, and 3 to prep them so that when they get there, they're ready for that? And it's a strategy thing. So I like to think of all these projects as the types of people who tend to latch onto them. I latch on to sales funnels. I think it's really cool. Now I am a marketer, I have a marketing background, but again, it's that gameplay. I'm really good at board games and things. So that's why I think I'm good at sales funnels, or why I enjoy them so much. So, all right, Katie, do you want to cover next steps? Or do you want me to jump in?
If you could, that'd be great. I'll jump back into the questions. Wow.
Yeah, I can't get into the questions since I'm sharing. Thank you.
Oh,
okay.
So maybe we'll do some out loud together.
We're going to have to. Yeah, I can't look at them at all.
Yeah.
So next steps is determine which project you'd like to start with. Again, remember there are 75, but today we covered 5. If I were you, I would at least just pick one of these just to give it a shot. Case studies, again, are going to be more of like it's the before and after story. If you like the idea of talking to people and uncovering their story, if you have that journalist mindset, that's a great opportunity for you. That would be the case study opportunity. Newsletters, if you like the consistency. I want to know every single month that I'm writing for the same client about the same theme or same industry, and therefore I'm going to get paid the same amount of money every single month. If you like that predictable income and you're very comfortable with articles, what you traditionally think of as an article, then maybe it's newsletters. If you have that methodical brain and you love that, I want to go through 30 things and I want to check off yes or no and give that to a client, then you're going to want to go with site audits. If you like the idea of, if you're really good like a report writer, like the key message platform is I'm going to interview all you marketing people and the business owners, and I'm going to get all the stuff out of your mouth that you think about your products and services in your company. And I'm just going to put it into a really nice package that you can give to any other writer, and they will be able to write copy and content for you, client person, and you'll be happy with it because you'll know, like AWAI, everybody who writes for you will know that AWAI started in 1997. They'll know the first story. They'll know that the copywriting program is a flagship program. You're basically pulling those pieces of information and just putting them into one nice little package. So if if that sounds appealing, that's the key message platform. Again, if you have that strategic kind of mindset and you like playing games, you're going to live with sales funnels. So just think about which one sounds interesting to you, and you can go out. I mean, we have programs that teach you A to Z. That's what we do. We teach you the skill sets. We show you how to get clients. We teach you, we actually give you hands-on experience that you have portfolio pieces and samples, but you don't have to come through us. We just want to make sure that writers in the world understand that you can make a great living as a writer. The reality is not everybody's going to hit bestseller with their book. So in the meantime, while you're working on your novel, while you're working on your other passion projects, make some money. You have this great skill and this passion already. You may as well make a good living at it. So, or at least get paid for it in the meantime. So determine one of these projects, maybe get the skills, start writing, and start making your weekends profitable. We have put together a list. So if you're a visual person, I'm very visual and I talk very fast. If you'd like a laundry list of all of the projects and the fees and what they include, what the projects look like, you can go to awaionline.com/weekend projects. I've actually put together not a transcript, but a quick cheat sheet, if you will, of all 5 opportunities. And just a real quick thing, all AWAI training programs, they are comprehensive professional grade training. Before I get into this, if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet, we will be opening it up for questions in just a minute. So if you'll just sit tight, Katie's in there answering email or online, but we will open this up in a second and actually answer them out loud. But all AWAI programs, they're all professional grade training. They are proven. Everything that we teach is proven based on real world. It's not just theoretical stuff. It's taught by experts who are actually working in the field and making a great living. When we hear about an opportunity and we hear that people are making money at it, we go out and we find the expert, the guy who's getting paid the most money, who happens to also be able to teach and who's willing to share. It's funny. People always say like, well, why don't they hide their systems? Why would they want to share? The reality is there's millions of companies. So that for them, they have their 5 or 6 clients. They're not worried about you competing with them. So it's kind of their next level of their own career and their own professional development is to then teach the next generation of writers to do what they've learned. But we give you hands-on experience to build confidence. It's not like this where we're just talking to you. You're actually working and writing all the way through our programs. You end up with professional samples for your portfolio and specific instruction on how to land projects. That is every single program that we publish. This is our requirement list, if you will. This is our checklist to make sure we have to have these things before we'll publish any programs at AWAI. And I did put together a deal for you guys for joining us today, and just because we are so fond of Writer's Digest. So we went ahead and discounted all 5 programs, the ones that I talked about earlier, until July 13th. I think that's Thursday. So you will be able to go in for the next couple of days, decide which ones you want. They're really inexpensive. Most of these programs, you can get started for under $100 and have a career. Like $100 to make $1,000 on your first project. Like, to me, that's a no-brainer. It's funny. Last 4th of July, last week, my husband and I were laughing that, we spent like $150 on fireworks for our neighborhood, and all these people were out spending $100, $200, $300 on fireworks, not even thinking about it. They didn't even blink an eye. But then people think like they can't spend $100 to invest in themselves in something that is going to actually give them money and return again and again and again. It's shocking to me, but we've discounted them all 50% off, and you'll have that until Thursday. It's at that URL, awaionline.com/weekend projects. I've also gone ahead and discounted the accelerated program. This is our flagship. If you want to really make good money as a writer, it all starts with copywriting. So we can't ever have a conversation without saying, if you really want to go all in, then really get a foundation in copywriting. It's AWAI's accelerated program for 6-figure copywriting. The deal there will be until Thursday as well, and you'll save $200. That's our comprehensive. That one will take you a month or 2 to get through, but it's very comprehensive, and you will have a very solid foundation. And from there, we then show you all the opportunities and how you can go out and be a working copywriter. So that's at www.awaionline.com/start-with-copywriting. And I also just wanted to invite everybody. We do these webinars once a month, Katie and me. It's called Inside AWAI. They're free, but we have an archive right now of over 18, I think, at awaionline.com/inside-AWAI. But every month we get on and we cover a topic that is helping our people get started, finding clients, pricing, marketing yourself. We've covered how to build a LinkedIn profile that attracts clients. We've covered 5 ways to make clients come to you. We've covered 3 of the best retainer projects that you'll want to land as a writer. Anything you can think of in where it comes to getting started, getting paid, landing assignments, that's what we talk about every single month in Inside AWAI. And actually this month, this Friday, we're talking about, we're doing a 9-step blueprint. People always want to say, okay, I know you can make a great living as a writer, but what are the steps? Like, what do I have to actually do? Like, what's my next step? So we put together a 9-step blueprint so that you can literally, again, my checklist people, you can check off each step as you go, all the way from starting at the very beginning to getting paid. Like, what does the process actually look like? We're going over that on Friday. You can sign up at that URL. But again, you can access all the archives. Next month, we're talking about retainers again, and just it's free. And we invite all of our members to submit ideas. Many of our ideas have been because people on the webinars have said, you know, Rebecca, this is great. I'd love to have a session on LinkedIn. That's how that one came up. Or I'd love to understand the business side. Like, what do I actually need as far as setting up a business and my website? And, you know, like, what are the templates that I need and the invoices and things like that? So we did a whole session on the business side of writing. So anything you can think of. But we also, just like we're about to do now, and I know we'll get cut off here, but we stay and answer every single question to keep you moving forward. So whether it's your question or you're listening to someone else's questions, Katie and I have literally sat on for 2.5 to 3 hours at times, just making sure that everybody's questions get answered. So you are welcome to invite us or welcome to join us as members of Writers Digest for free, and it's all there. All right, so if you have any questions about any of the projects or anything that we covered today, there's our member services team. We have a great team of very informed, educated people on the writing industry and on all of our products and services. 866-879-2924. If you're more comfortable ordering online or you have questions about any of the programs, they will be able to answer anything that you could possibly need. And again, that URL right there is the one that gives you all of the products that we've talked about, gives you kind of the breakdown of what we've covered today.
All right, Rebecca, could you just repeat the website for the accelerated program?
Yes, it is. So they're all on the AWAI website, awai.online.com/start with copywriting.
Okay. Now, I'm going to group some questions together. So if I'm not answering your specific question, I feel that it falls under this category. But there are quite a few people asking about what we do to help you find clients. What do we do as far as helping with the business side of being a copywriter? Because I'm glad you asked that, because you are running a business and you do need to think in those terms. And for the first part, as far as helping you get started, find clients, get work, you know, we know that having the skills is half of it, and the converting those skills, monetizing those skills, figuring out how to make money from those skills is just as important. And I would say all of our programs are equally weighted to cover both of those very important topics. We want to be sure you have the best skills, but then we want to be sure you know how to get started. So, and for a lot of the different niches that we talk about, there are little tweaks and specialties for getting started, for finding clients. But we start typically with helping you decide what area you even want to write in. There's so many opportunities. So we help you find the niche that's the best fit for you. Then we help you find, well, who are the companies that hire copywriters? Then how, of those companies, what type of writing do they need and want? And we show you how to do all these things. And then we give you all kinds of proven techniques for then how you actually start approaching these companies. You know, it's different for everybody. Some people are comfortable sending emails. Some people are comfortable meeting at events or networking. Some people are comfortable calling. We know that it's not one size fits all. We do know that the most important thing is to start telling people from day one, I'm a copywriter, I can help your business. And it's amazing how many things actually snowball from just uttering those words. But we take that very seriously, And the other thing is we have this amazingly generous, big, broad, varied membership of people who are happy to share their success with you. And every week, every day, pretty much nowadays, Rebecca and I are getting stories. Oh, I got my first client, and this is how it happened. And we always share that because there could be something that sparks what for you, what they did sparks for you. So it's not a one size fits all, but we cover that. Rebecca, anything to add there?
I don't think so. It's just that, finding clients, there's so many ways to land, to attract clients, to bring people in, to identify them. All the questions and emails I always get is, oh, I'm looking at all these job boards and, I don't find any jobs. Well, I'll tell you, on Indeed, I think there's 2,500 advertisements right now for copywriters, but we don't even encourage you to go to the job boards. The way that we teach internally is to identify who you actually want to write for, and we walk through this with you, but who you want to work for, what you want to write about, basically, what those companies are in that space, and then how to reach out to them, how to promote yourself properly. Again, every one of our programs teaches you kind of how to do that. But we have a job board. We teach you, even inside of AWAI, we've taught you for free how to attract people through your website and through LinkedIn and through all of the things that you can be doing. It all comes down to there's dozens of ways that you can market yourself to bring in clients. And we have this success story. His name is Joshua Boswell, who's now become an expert in helping people get clients. And he always says the methods that are the best are the ones that you're going to actually do. So like Katie was saying, some people are comfortable cold calling. Some people prefer networking. Some people hate the idea of cold calling, hate the idea of networking. So they would prefer to be on LinkedIn and things like that are a little more behind the scenes. So it's all about first learning about all the options, which we teach you, and then figuring out the ones that feel good to you. And then once you know, okay, I want to do these three, then learning how to do them. And again, AWAI's knowledge base is long and deep. We cover every topic and we cover it really deep. So it's just a matter of you deciding what it is that you want to do. It's not a one size fits all opportunity.
Right. And as far as we realize too that it's not even just knowing what to do, it's the motivation to do it. It's the fear, it's the obstacles, it's the mind games. So we tackle those subjects a lot too. We know that that's very, very real. As far as business side, yeah, we do cover that. We have specific programs. We offer templates of billing and all this other stuff. I wouldn't get hung up on that. It's important to realize that you do need to do it, but that falls into place. That's an easy 5-minute conversation once you have your first client. You don't have to necessarily have all your I's dotted and T's crossed before you start. We say jump in and then let that stuff work itself out. We're getting another group of questions as far as people being overseas. Can they do this from overseas? Are there opportunities for copywriters overseas? Does this translate? Yes, and yes. Especially in today's world, clients really don't care where you are as long as you hit your deadline and deliver effective writing to them. And the way you find clients would still be the same way. You find the company that you want to write for, and you take it from there. Plus,
and you want to write in a language. I would just say you want to write in a language that you speak. If you speak English, that's the language that you want to write in. So you want to work for either U.S. companies or international companies who are selling in English or whose materials are in English. If you speak another language, that's a huge asset for you. You can work for U.S. companies who are marketing in that space. So if I'm a U.S. company, but I'm selling into France and you speak French and I have a French version of my website and marketing materials, you're better equipped to write for that. A translator can't translate copy and content. It's not a word for word translation. You have to actually understand, you're going to be better equipped to understand the way that you actually speak in France. And so that's a huge benefit to a company looking to market into your space. The other option is to write for companies actually in your country. And that's okay as well. Right. The basic fundamental principles, though, translate no matter where you are.
Exactly. Gary's asking, he actually bought the accelerated copywriting program years ago, I think about 10 years ago, and he's wondering if it's still relevant. And it is, Gary, and you're going to be surprised when you log on to look at it because it's going to look a lot different. But once you buy one of our programs, we call our programs living programs. And whenever we update, which is frequently, you get the most recent version. So once you're with us, you're always with us. And we're always with you as well. A couple people were a little frustrated that they thought this was going to be a little bit more how-to, and I'm sorry for that. But really, the purpose of this was to introduce you to these opportunities. To get into the how-to would, take a lot more time and effort and energy. And this was a opportunity just to introduce you to this. And if you are interested, there we definitely offer these programs that do go into more detail with the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, each one of these will take you at least a couple of days to learn. So you're not going to learn anything like this in an hour. And if there's anyone out there saying that you can learn in an hour, send them to me.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that tutorial. But the idea of this, remember, the how-to is how to make $1,000 in a weekend. Most writers think that the only way to make a living as a writer is to become a best-selling author or do this, or write like a ton of articles for a content mill. And that is not the case. Our job and our goal at AWAI is to open the eyes of writers and say, you guys have this amazing skill set. I've got a lot of other people who are not writers who want to do this, but you actually already have, you're already halfway there. It's just a matter of picking the projects that fit your personality and your style and your type of writing. Like maybe you like to write hypey copy. Maybe you hate to write hypey copy. Maybe you like to tell stories. Maybe you don't like. So based on who you are, to pick the right projects that are right for you, and then you have to get the skills to actually write that project. The things that we talk about, I can teach you how to write an article in an hour that'll maybe get you, $100, but you're going to have to do a lot of those to make $1,000 in a weekend. That's a lot harder than landing one client, one project that's at least worth $1,000. So that's our goal with this. And the how-to was choosing the right projects. If you want to make $1,000 in a weekend, it's very difficult to land. It's going to be a lot harder to land 10 $100 articles, right, than it is going to be to land one case study project. Because you have to have 10 different clients, or at least one client that has the need of 10 articles. You're going to be spending a lot more time than writing one case study. So the how-to was, with 75 opportunities out there, how do you identify the ones that pay at least $1,000 and you can be done in a weekend? And that's what this webinar was all about, was trying to hone in on the things that could actually be accomplished in a weekend and that would pay you $1,000.
Okay, so international people that don't have experience. Rebecca, you want to just jump in on that? They're concerned that they don't necessarily have experience. How do they get started? Just before you do, what sets you up? I do want to just remind everybody about these Inside AWAI webinars. Like, that is a topic we've spent a good hour and a half on, maybe 2 hours. These very how do I get started? Where do I find clients? These are all things that we've gone into in depth to that are yours available as a free resource. But Rebecca, if you want to give a quick answer there.
Sure. So the question was, if you don't have any experience, how do you get started? We're actually doing a blueprint map on Friday. So definitely come to Inside AWAI on Friday, join us. You'll get the full blueprint of the steps.
Oh, right.
I forgot. But having no experience is a different question. Having no experience, it's the fear of, how is someone going to hire me when I don't have a degree? Well, why will somebody hire me when I don't have 6 years of writing experience? When you look on job ads, the reason that's most likely in your head is because when you look at job ads, they will say things like bachelor's of arts in communications and 6 years writing experience. That's because somebody in some department told HR, human resources, I need to hire a copywriter. HR then turned around and gave them a form and said, fill out this form, which they then filled out. But the reality is you don't have to have any experience. And we show you how to talk to people about this. It's really about having samples. So like, you learn how to write a case study, right? And then you write in the program that we teach you learn how to write case studies. You then come to me and say, Rebecca, hey, I'd like to write some case studies. The next thing I don't say, do you have a Bachelor of Arts in Communications? And do you have 6 years of writing experience? The next thing I say is, do you have any samples? Which you'll then send because you have them. And then I look at them and I look at the quality of your writing. Do I think that that's a fit for my company? The answer is yes. And then I hire you. So it really doesn't matter. You don't walk around saying, I have 0 years of experience. Somebody please give me a chance. The example I always use is the dentist. The guy who goes to school, to dental school, right? He hangs out his shingle on day one. He doesn't go out in the streets and yell, I'm brand new. I've never worked on a single tooth and I'd love for you to come in and pay me money, right? No, he hangs up his shingle as a professional. He has the skill set. He's done the hands-on experience. He just never actually had anyone pay him for it before. So it's the same thing. He's day one. He only has a day of dental experience, but yet he's expecting to be paid. You'll be doing the exact same thing. As a writer, you'll be going out. You'll have that skill set. It doesn't matter. You'll have the samples that prove that you can do it. And now it's just a matter of, is it a fit? Are we a fit? You clients, like dating, are we a good fit? So don't worry about having no experience. Don't go out there singing it from the rafters. Don't ask anyone to give you a chance or discount your fees because you're brand new. You will go out there as a professional who has been trained just like anyone else in any other profession, and you will have samples that prove that you can do what you say you do. So hopefully that alleviates that concern.
Yes. I'm sure Sue's looking at her watch. Let's see. Okay, I think we've covered most of these. Oh, how do I get the discount by the end of the day on Thursday? Rebecca, do you want to just give that website again?
It depends which one. So if you want to do one of the 5 projects, you'll go to awionline.com/weekend project. When you scroll down to the bottom of that page, you'll actually see we've actually put in an order form at the bottom of the content. So you can fill it out there. And this one, the copywriting program, is Start with Copywriting. If you order online through either one of those pages, you will automatically get the discount, or you can call member services at 866-879-2924, and they'll be happy to set you up as well with that discount. They know all about it.
Okay, a couple ladies are asking about how copywriting strengthens fiction skills. And I answered, but Rebecca, do you want to add to that?
I wish we had Pat McCord on here. So Pat McCord is a Writer's Digest member who came. She's a published author, Writer's Digest member who came to AWAI because she wanted to make a living. She was actually, that was her full-time job, was as a published author. She was making enough money off of her royalties and stuff, but she wanted to supplement that income and make even more money in between. Didn't want to go back to work. And so she came to us. And I wish I had her on here because she literally just wrote me an email like a month ago. And if you've been in Writer's Digest for a while, you've probably heard her story. She actually works with us now to spread the word about copywriting to all fiction writers. But there's a lot of things that we teach. The bottom line is that we always believe in clarity of writing, which means we want to make sure that the reader is always engaged. We don't want to lose their attention. I'm sure you all have been reading a book before, and you read a paragraph and you're like, what? I have to go read this again. I have no idea what the author is trying to say to me. We teach a lot of skills that help you with clarity of writing, to write clearly like that, to keep the person moving forward. We teach a lot of things that help you engage with a reader. We teach it as far as copywriting goes, how to engage with a prospect, how to affect them emotionally and bring them in and keep them engaged. So we talk a lot about that. And a lot of this stuff just applies to fiction writing. My mom is actually a fiction writer. Her name is Becky Masterman, has just released her 3rd book now. But she and I, it's so funny how we live such parallel lives. We're constantly, she'll say, I was just talking to my agent, I was just talking to my publisher, and they want me to do this to my copy. I'm like, that's so funny because at AWAI, we talk about this same exact thing with our copywriters, and here's how we train them to get around that. And I've actually had my mom train her publishers how to give better feedback on her manuscripts using AWAI systems that we use to improve copy and content. So it's a lot of things like that. We teach you how to hook someone's attention. We teach you how to close things out, how to bridge things smoothly when you want to change topics. So it's so interesting to see the parallel between fiction writing and copywriting and content writing. Plus, all good copy and content, it all comes back to good stories. And that's why we love Writer's Digest people, because you guys know how to tell stories. I might have people who have marketing backgrounds and sales backgrounds, and they're going to be able to write good copy too, but they might not be good storytellers. I'm not a good storyteller. I'm a decent writer. I can bang out copy fast. I can get it done, but I'm a horrible storyteller. So I envy the fact that you all who are fiction writers can tell stories. So it's just such a neat parallel. So those are some of the examples of how things that we teach actually make you a better fiction writer as well.
Okay. I think that's about it. Again, Barbara, we did talk about how to do these things, and that the purpose of this was to introduce that we couldn't get into the actual nuts and bolts. but
you can Google
I'd
it.
be happy to talk.
And you can also Google how to write a case study. Our job here was to give you ways of making money. But you can now Google how to write a case study, how to write key message platform might be hard. That's kind of one of our things. Site audits, again, it's our systems for teaching, but you can figure out how to do these things on your own. It's all about, our programs are more, if you want the shortcut, if you want the proven method, if you want to get from A to Z within, a short amount of time and not have to spend all that time finding, is this the right person? Is this a good expert? Are they the right person to teach me this? Do they know what they're talking about? Our programs really teach you could learn how to write copy. There are other webinars and other programs out there.
Yeah.
We happen to believe that ours is the best, and it's, the industry agrees.
Yeah.
However, you can find this stuff online just by Googling.
Great. And okay, here's the last one. We're gonna end with this one. How many AWAI members have been successful? And that is the big question. And we used to have a set number that we knew and percentage, and because a lot of people don't actually do this work, and we only hear from the ones who have been successful. But based on the feedback that we get, the participation that we have, the success stories that we have this wonderful case study page that just highlights a handful so far of our writers. I would have to say that we probably have like a 50% success rate would be my guess based on the people who do the work. And that I'm saying that number because what we realized is everybody's bar of success is different. For some people, it is six figures, and that's really what we were focused on, was helping people get to six figures for a long time. But we realized that for so many people, it's about having more time. It's about having the extra money, which was the impetus for us putting together this program and focusing on some quick wins like this. For others, it's being able to have the freedom to work where they want, when they want, not have to commute. The success is measured so many different ways. And we have a publication actually dedicated to the barefoot writer and the barefoot writer lifestyle. And, every month now for 5 years, it's been full of people that have created these amazing lifestyles because they have this skill. So, as far as putting an actual number on it, it's really difficult to do. But I know that the feedback and the love and the positive energy and responses that we get, and the ripple effect that learning this skill has on a person's life and their family and their community, you really can't measure it. Rebecca, do you have
and it's all about
other answers?
It's what you put in. I'm sitting in my home office right now, and I'm looking at my closet, and I have a huge walk-in closet in my office, and in there are programs that I have done, and then I've got tons of workout programs, for example, that are still in the packaging because I was excited to do it. I wanted six-pack abs and all of this stuff, but the reality is I didn't value enough to do the time to do the work. I 100%, I've been with the company for 13 years now. And I've seen it firsthand. I believe in the quality of everything we do. We have the best leading experts from Bob Bly, Clayton Makepeace. Google any of these guys. Bob Bly, Clayton Makepeace, Steve Sloan-White, Nick Usborne. These guys are the best in the industry. It's not us saying that they're the best. It's the industry saying that they're the best. It's not about us at AWAI and what can we make people successful. Our job is to bring you the best information out there, the best training possible, proven, stuff that other people have done successfully. We publish dozens of success stories every single month on our website and through our magazines. And those are just the ones that we know of and the ones that we can get out. There's so many that are coming in that, it used to be that we would have to look for success stories, and then we would hear about one or two and here and there. And now we're just flooded regularly. So if you're going to do this, if you want to make a living as a writer, don't look for an easy button. Don't look for a DVD for six-pack abs. It doesn't work that way. You have to commit. You have to like anything. You have to put in the time. But if you put in the time and you're willing to work and you're willing to market yourself and you're willing to do what we tell you to do, you can be successful. Most of our success panelists, when we have our annual conference, they're sitting up there. I remember Steve Maurer, just one of our success stories back in February. Somebody asked him the key to his success, and he said, I wish I had something more exciting to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, but I just did what they told me. He's the guy who every single day, he does exactly what we're saying. You know, he gets up, he updates his LinkedIn profile, he reaches out to another client, he's working the system just like we're telling him. So if you put in the time, just like anything, if you put in the time, you will be successful. But you have to, you know, get out there and do the work and commit to it. But if you were willing to do that, then I'm 100% confident in saying that any of our programs, I personally would stand behind any one of them. I'm very proud of them. I've seen the success come through, and it can be life-changing. So if this is something that you want, if you want to get paid to write, there's a Buddhist philosophy that says, don't believe me, just try it. All of our stuff comes back with a money-back guarantee. We've been around for 20 years. We're not trying to take anybody's money. We'll give it back to you. So just go in there, give it a shot. We just love what we do. We love the success, and we love to hear the stories of how people have changed their lives. And just, it's an amazing, amazing company, amazing opportunity. And I hope that those of you who love to write and who want to get paid, just take a chance. Go ahead and try it. You've got nothing to lose. So with that, I think that's a perfect note to end on, don't you, Katie?
I think we're done. I want to thank everybody, and I admire all the fiction writers, all the writers here. You know, you make my weekends. So keep doing what you're doing, and let us help you keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate everybody's attention, and they're great questions, and I'd love to be working with you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Sue.
Okay, bye. Bye, Sue.
Bye. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming, and just a reminder to be watching for the email to come tomorrow sometime with the recording, a link to the recording in that. And if you don't see it, make sure you check your spam folder to make sure it hasn't gotten stuck there. And with that, thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.